So this webinar is all about when you're buying and selling a house at the same time. When I talk to people who are looking into that situation, they seem to be really nervous about how that works because it just seems like such a balancing act. And they're right, it is a balancing act, but it's probably not as scary as you think. So this webinar is all about when buying and selling the same thing, it's not as scary as you think. It can be a little stressful, but with the right guidance and the right upfront research and the upfront asking the right questions, it can be a lot more simple than you think. So let's get right into it, shall we? Strategic options. So when you are buying and selling at the same time, there are several different options that you can choose from. So option number one would be to look for a house, buy a house, move into that house, and then list your current house and sell it. So that would be one option, right? Another option would be to list your house, contract on your current home, start looking for your new house, contract on that new house, and then sell and buy your current house. Your two houses, right? Number three, list your home. Start looking for your next house. Contract on your current home, contract on your new home, then contract on your current home, sell and buy. All right, and then our final option is look for a house, contract on your new house, then list your house, then contract on your current home, and then sell and buy at the same time. So that's a lot of different options, right? That's 4 different options. And honestly, maybe more than one can work, and maybe right now one might work, but then later another one might work. But that's a bunch of different options to choose from. So how do you pick which one is right for you? Well, we basically go back to grammar school, okay? And we talk about the 5 W's. What? Why? When? Where? Who, and finally, we'll figure out how, okay? So, let's start with why. Why am I moving? Now that is a really good question because there could be a lot of different reasons, right? And that's going to change your motivation as to what you're doing and in what order you should do it in. So, are you changing schools? Maybe you have little ones that are starting to go up into the school age and there's a specific district that you want to be in. Perhaps you are growing out of where you are and you need something bigger. Perhaps your family has shrunk over the last couple of years and it's time to find something smaller. Maybe your career has changed in that you are relocating to a new area, or just that you are now in different careers. You can afford a little bit more, so you want a little bit more home, or vice versa. Or there's a life change. You know, life happens. Sometimes our marriages don't work. Sometimes we lose a spouse. And we just have to change the situation that we're in. All of those are different reasons why. All of them are independent to you, and they're a big factor on what your motivation is. The next question is when. When do I need to move? That's a very important one. Are you in a hurry? Are you not in a hurry? So whenever, I'm not really in a hurry. If I find something, I find something. Or yesterday, because my job starts in 4 weeks and I have to find a new place to where I'm going to be. Perhaps you need to buy by August 15th. There's like a specific deadline that you need to buy. The good scenario with that would be if the kids start school on August 20th. You want to be settled by the first part of August. You're ready to move. You're psyched to do it, but you're not necessarily in a hurry. So there's a lot of different options of when that affect your move and your decision. Where? That's a biggie. Where are you moving? Are you moving within the same community? Are you moving outside of the community? Are you moving outside of the state? That's a pretty big factor as far as coordination. Are you working then with, how many professionals are you working with? Just one that's going to help you help you sell and buy, or do you have to go somewhere else? So you're selling with somebody here and you're buying with somebody there. That's a big factor as well. So another one is, what do I need to know? So all of the questions that we've been asking so far are questions that you can answer for your specific situation, right? Nobody else can say your why. Nobody else can say your when. So now you need to know what you don't know. So what do I need to know? And very important factors are, how long will it take your house to sell? So average days on market means how many days it takes to list it to how many days it takes to it goes under contract. Now, this could be different from county to county. It can be different from neighborhood to neighborhood, price range to price range. So this is something that you don't know right now and you need to find out. Something else that you need to find out is your market value. That's kind of important, right? How much is my house going to sell for? That has a big impact on several different things. It has an impact on average days on market. It takes a house that's listed at $200,000, not as many days to sell as one that's listed at $1 million. So there's a big difference in price ranges as far as that goes, and it's a pretty important factor to find. And another thing to find out is your current mortgage balance. And why do you need to know these two? You need to know your market value and your current mortgage balance, and it is able to estimate your equity. This is a really important factor here. This equity can determine what your price range is of your house that you're coming up, because you have a certain down payment and such to that effect that you could equate into that. It also has a lot to do with how to choose which options are best for you. So there's a lot of different things that the equity can determine, and one of those is loan options. But you don't know what these are until you ask the right people, until you ask those questions, because you can't answer those for yourself. So who do you need to talk to? Who do you need to talk to? You need to talk to a professional, fun-loving, up-to-date realtor who can answer all of those questions for you. She can answer most of those questions for you, excuse me. I can't answer all of those questions. I'm not that good. Because the other person that you need to talk to is a lender. But you take all of these pieces of the puzzle and you bring them together. You know why, you know where. Okay, you have an idea of when. Now you've talked to a professional realtor who has done a market analysis on your house, who has let you know about how long it's going to take to sell it, based on your price point, based on your area, all of that good stuff. Now you talk to a lender to find out what your options are that way. Why do you want to talk to a lender? Because what you want to know, first of all, is how much house you can afford to buy wherever it is that you're going. Second of all, what your options are right now. If you have enough equity in your home and perhaps you're moving up at a job and you're making more money, it's possible that you could do what's called a wraparound mortgage. And a wraparound mortgage pools the equity, not actually pools the equity, but hypothetically pools the equity from your home, applies it to the home that you're going to buy, and then you balance both mortgages. Now, on the home that you're buying, you're only paying interest only on that, so you're not paying 2 full mortgage payments. However, you are paying a little bit more. But if you can hypothetically, or on paper, pull that equity out of your current house, put it towards your new house, then you can buy that new house, vacate out of your old house, move in, be settled, not worry about showings and coordinations and keeping it clean and such to that effect. If you've been in your house for a really long time, like let's say you've paid off the mortgage and you have the full equity in your home, perhaps you could do a home equity line of credit before you put it on the market. So you have cash in hand, you're a cash buyer essentially, you can go buy a house and do the same thing. If you don't have that, you need to know that also. If you're lower on equity than you thought you were going to be, all of that is really important information, and you really can't know that, like really truly know it, unless you talk with a professional realtor first and then talk with a lender to see what your actual options are. Oh, and then you trip over the board there. So we're going to add another W, which. So, of the options that we went in before, which of these is best for you and your situation? Keeping in mind that it could change, okay? So just because you picked one of these options does not mean that you have to stick with that option. Let's say that you decided to first look and then contract on a new house and then list, but then you realize that the market is really picking up, and maybe if you don't want to put that contingency on a house because you may not get it, you better list first so that you have possibly a contract going on. Okay, so all of these can change based on that information. One other item I would like to talk about is how does this actual transaction work? Okay, so let's say that you have listed your house, you have found a home that you want to buy, but you do not have a contract on your house yet. What happens is we put what's called a home sale contingency on the purchase of your house. So that means the seller agrees to allow you to market your house until you sell it, but you have to sell your house before you buy it, which is fairly common, and you can talk with your agent about that to work out the details. But what few people realize is that you can also do the opposite. So the biggest concern I hear from people is, well, what if I list my house and I go under contract, but I have not yet found the house that I want to move into? And that's a legitimate concern, especially in a market like we are right now. We have very low inventory. But what you can also do is make the sale of your current house contingent on finding suitable housing. So that does not just go one way. So you can be in any of these situations and you can switch fields based on what your current situation is. So if somebody finds your house, they absolutely love it, they want to move in 60 days, you can say, I can't do 60 days because I haven't found a house yet. I need to make it contingent. Let's go see if we can extend this out anymore. And of course, depending on the buyer's situation, they may be able to do that. They may not be able to do that, but you can deal with it at that time. So there are a lot of different options to do. It is a little scary, but not as scary as you think. And if you go into it with the right knowledge based on what your current situation is, and then finding out those missing pieces from the professionals, you can coordinate it however you need to make it as smooth and painless as possible. So thank you. I hope this was helpful. I know it was quick. I probably didn't answer all of your questions, and that's okay because you can call or you can email me, and I'm happy to sit down with you and meet with you to help fill in some of those blanks a little bit. And don't forget to visit my website and follow my YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Take care.